Harper Audio presents Girl Alone by Cathy Glass, read by Denica Fairman. Chapter 1. Unsafe Behaviour.
I hate you!
Joss screamed at the top of her voice.
I hate you! I hate your house and your effing family! I even hate your effing cat!
Our beloved cat, Tosha, jumped out of Joss's way as she stormed from the living room, stomped upstairs and into her bedroom, slamming the door behind her. I took a deep breath and sat on the sofa as I waited for my pulse to settle. Joss, 13, had arrived as an emergency foster placement 12 days earlier. Angry, volatile and upset, she wasn't getting any easier to deal with. I knew why she was so angry. So too did her family, teacher, social worker, previous foster carers and everyone else who had tried to help her and failed. Joss's father had committed suicide 4 years previously when Joss had been 9 years old, and she and her mother had found his lifeless body. He'd hanged himself. This was trauma enough for any child to cope with, but then, when Joss was 12, her mother had tried to move on with her life and had remarried. Joss felt rejected, and that her mother had betrayed her father, whom she'd been very close to. Her refusal to accept her new stepfather as her younger brother had been able to had seen family arguments escalate, and Joss's behaviour sink to the point where she had to leave home and go to live with an aunt. The aunt had managed to cope with Joss's unsafe and unpredictable behaviour for a month, but then Joss had gone into foster care. 2 carers later, with Joss's behaviour deteriorating further, she'd come to live with me, the day after Danny, whose story I told in Saving Danny, had left. It was felt that, as a very experienced foster carer, I'd be able to manage and hopefully improve Joss's behaviour, but there'd been little progress so far. And while I felt sorry for her and appreciated why she was so upset and angry, allowing her to self-destruct wasn't going to help. Her present outburst was the result of my telling her that if she was going out, she'd have to be in by 9 o'clock, which I felt was late enough for a girl of 13 to be travelling home on the bus alone. I'd offered to collect her in my car from the friend's house she was supposedly going to, so she could have stayed a bit later, but she'd refused.
I'm not a kid! She'd raged. So stop treating me like one!
It was Friday evening, and what should have been the start of a relaxing weekend had resulted in me being stressed again, and my children, Adrian, 16, Lucy, 13, and Paula, 12, being forced to listen to another angry scene. I gave Joss the usual 10 minutes alone to calm down before I went upstairs. I wasn't surprised to find Paula and Lucy standing on the landing looking very worried. Joss's anger impacted on the whole family. "Shall I go in and talk to her?" Lucy asked. The same age as Joss, and having come to me as a foster child, I was adopting her, Lucy could empathise closely with Joss, but I wasn't passing the responsibility to her. "Thanks, love, but I'll speak to her first," I said. "Then you can have a chat with her later if you wish."
"I don't like it when she shouts at you," Paula said sadly.
"I don't either," I said, "but I can handle it. Really, don't worry." I threw them a reassuring smile, then gave a brief knock on Joss's door and, slowly opening it, poked my head round. "Can I come in?" I asked.
"Suit yourself,"
Joss said moodily. I went in and drew the door to behind me. Joss was sitting on the edge of a bed with a tissue pressed to her face. She was a slight, petite child who looked younger than her 13 years, and her usually sallow complexion was now red from anger and tears. "Can I come and sit next to you?" I asked, approaching the bed.
"Not bothered,"
she said. I sat beside her, close, but not quite touching. I didn't take her hand in mine or put my arm around her to comfort her. She shied away from physical contact.
"Why do you always stop me from having fun?" she grumbled. "It's not fair."
"Joss, I don't want to stop you from having fun, but I do need to keep you safe. I care..."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?